this over to Audrey, who's going to share her screen with you and give you an actual demonstration of how Stat Social works. And so that you know, Stat Social will do Twitter analytics to help you target and analyze what your followers do on Twitter. And I had a report from them, an absolutely remarkable report that shows it follows your Twitter followers or anybody's Twitter followers on 60 points through the internet. So it shows you what has their attention. It shows you what they read, what they watch on TV, how old they are, where they live. A little bit on the scary side, how much data there is. But when it comes to marketing and advertising, this is an absolutely incredible platform. And at the end of the demonstration, Audrey has a special offer for those of you who are watching. So let me introduce you to Audrey Hungerman. And Audrey, go ahead and share your screen, and then I will let you take over from there. So, okay, here we go. This is Stat Social. Oh, my report. Go ahead, Audrey.
All right, thanks, BL. Like BL said, we're Stat Social. We're a Twitter analytics platform, but what makes us unique is that we go outside of Twitter. So Twitter is just the starting point. You can analyze your followers, you can analyze a hashtag, a link, keyword search, but we take your Twitter handle and we crawl 60+ social and public sites outside of Twitter to find out your interest or demographic information. So what we're going to go through today is BL's report, which is at What's Next. And we're going to see all of the information that Stat Social can put around the context of your followers. So this is analyzing everyone that follows at What's Next. So we crawl 100% of the Twitter handles that's following at What's Next. And we have a growing database of 50 million user profiles that we have matched as an actual individual. So we found a public Facebook, a public LinkedIn, something outside of Twitter that tells us that this is a real person, a real consumer. So right here you can see she has just over 10,000 followers. Out of those followers, our report is based on those identified consumers. So we weed out spam, we don't crawl people that have private Twitter accounts, and so that's left with this 100%. So 86% are identified consumers, and the other 14% are business accounts. And those aren't included in the report just because they would skew metrics. They're not actual consumers that are going to, buy your product or service. Then we have a metric up here called followers per follower. So on average, at What's Next, followers have 2.2 thousand followers of their own. This directly correlates with our influence metric that we call Twitter Pool. So Twitter Pool takes into consideration your second-degree connection, so your followers' followers. And so at What's Next has a Twitter Pool of 188, stronger than the average Twitter handle. Okay? So then we're going to go and
Audrey, does that mean that my followers I have 188 times as much reach as the 10,000?
No. We compare to what we call the average Twitter account. So the average Twitter account has about 300 followers. And so if you have 300 followers and those followers have about 300 of their own, that's what we're comparing your 10,000, your handle to.
Okay.
So we offer kind of two sets of data points, the demographic and the lifestyle section. So these 4 points up here are the demographic information. We do a gender breakdown, so 62% people that follow at What's Next are female. But what makes Stat Social unique is that we compare it to the Twitter average. So we display the Twitter average, which is based on our database of 50 million profiles. So 52% Twitter audience is female. Because at What's Next has 62%, we say that they're 1.18 more likely to be female than the average Twitter audience. And that really just puts your data in context. Great, my audience is from California or they're 18 to 24, but what does that actually mean? So then again, we break it down to age. Some platforms offer this, some don't, but because we're validating you outside of Twitter, we have a higher accuracy rate, a higher match rate to actually find out whether you post your birthday on Facebook or your graduation date on LinkedIn. So you can see at what's next, they over-index in over 54. 22% are over 54, and that's 1.62 times the Twitter average. We also break it down into male and female segments if you wanted to look at age by gender. We do that as well. Okay. Look at geolocation. So on the front end, we display the top 5 cities, states, countries, and Nielsen DMAs. But we pull from tens of thousands of cities, states, countries, which is available if you export our reports. So you can see the top 5 cities are LA, New York, Chicago, Boston, and DC. Some of our clients use this to track their growth. I know Facebook offers detailed insights on where your followers are. So if you're tracking your company's handle and the growth of your followers, you can see exactly maybe you had a huge increase in followers from the DC area because you just had an event. Or your CEO spoke somewhere, that's going to get a huge increase in followers wherever that event was, and so on and so forth. We also display income and education. Income is based off of personal income, not household income. So you can see 31.53% make over 100,000, which is 2.9 times the Twitter average. This makes sense. If you looked, it was an older audience. 22% were over 54. And then for education, we rank it by where you went to school. So you might say that you went to NYU on your Facebook or your LinkedIn, and we classify them into tiers. So tier 1, the rankings are down here. Tier 1 would kind of be at Harvard and Oxford, Yale. Second tier would be NYU or Duke. You can just see how educated your audience is. And then we have an engagement rate. So we display your average tweets per day. So on average, this audience tweets 1.68 times per day. And then we also display most recent tweets. You can see how active your audience is. And this is just based on the timestamps of your tweets. We store our users' last 3,000 tweets, and that's how we can calculate this metric.
And then the multiple is how much more that is than the average, right?
Right, correct. And this is where our data gets fun. This is our lifestyle metrics. So we have interest categories, and these are based off of the IAB taxonomy. So there's 24 high-level categories: the arts and entertainment, automotive, business. But then you can really drill down. So 99% of At What's Next's audience is interested in business. Makes sense. You can see they're 3.49 times more likely to be interested in business than the average Twitter audience. But then we also give you top 3 subcategories. So the top 3 interests within business are marketing, advertising, and business software. But if you want to know what else in business that they might be interested in or the other sub-level categories, you can drill down and see exactly all of the categories in business that they might like. And what you can do is we can rank them by either the percentage, so that's where we get our top 3, or you can rank them by the multiples, this is how likely they are. So what are they most likely to like? Advertising. And then, so there are about 350 subcategories. We make it easy to digest all of this by creating a top 100. So marketing, technology, college life is up there, entertainment technology. Okay. And a lot of our clients will use this for content creation. So say you analyze your brand's handle and you're targeting moms, and it kind of shows up they're interested in maybe homeschooling and K-6 education, but what you might not know is that they're interested in traveling with their kids. That's one of our subcategories. So there's a whole content series about the easiest ways to travel with your kids or the best places to take your kids.
This is pretty remarkable information for content providers, because when you want to know where the attention of your audience is so that you can engage with them on those topics, this is the place to find that out, and in such detail. I mean, I was in this report yesterday for hours, drilling down to all the levels because it goes into such detail. What happens when they click on, for example, under automotive, if they started to click on Ford or on Toyota, what would that show?
So this is our brand category. We have about 8,200 brands in our database that we pull from. Again, they're organized in high-level categories, and you can drill down right to the actual brand that they like. So they're not just interested in marketing or advertising. We can show you what marketing and advertising publications that they read or websites that they visit. So let's look at media. This is a good one for marketers. We can see the top 3 media brands are Ad Age, Fast Company, and Harvard Business Review right off the bat. Well, we can drill down into media, and these are our subcategories. So you can see what books, what media conglomerates, what magazines, movies, newspapers, everything like that. Again, top 3 is on the right. So you can drill right down to magazines, look at business magazines, and here's your target audience. So this is really great. Like, you don't even have to guess what publications your audience reads. You know exactly where they are, what they're purchasing, what they're reading. You can place your ads, your company right into those publications.
Or your articles.
Exactly.
I find that to be absolutely incredibly valuable as a resource, and have not seen that anywhere else.
Right, and it's not just, the hard publications. We pull all websites as well. So looking at well-known blogs that your audience might read, or for native advertising, where are you going to place those ads? Where are you going to sponsor content? And then we also have celebrities. So we have about 22,000 celebrities in our database. Again, we group them into high-level categories. And again, we provide the top 100. So we can see Chris Brogan is the #1 celebrity for this audience. You can also drill down into the categories, see what chefs they like, see what business people that they like. This is really helpful for identifying influencers. And what you do would be, maybe a well-known celebrity comes up because they have a high value, but what you want to do is rank by the multiple, so you can see what your audience is most likely to like or follow. We have bloggers in here, we have journalists in here, so this is really helpful for identifying those people that you might want to reach out to for your next influencer campaign that you might not even realize. Some New York food bloggers came up in one of our clients' report. Those are the people you want to talk to. Those are, maybe you want to track sponsorships for your celebrity. So LeBron James is the spokesperson for Gatorade. You can see exactly his affinity for his followers' affinity for Gatorade, or vice versa, Gatorade's followers' affinity for LeBron James. You can track the growth of that affinity for LeBron James over the course of his time at Gatorade, or campaigns that they're producing during NBA season.
So you can go, in other words, and analyze LeBron James's Twitter stream to see what his followers are doing, right?
Yes, you can analyze his handle. So what's nice about Stat Social is you don't need any passwords or anything like that to analyze anyone's Twitter handle. You don't need to validate that it's your own. You can just put in any Twitter handle that you want to see and analyze their followers, which is great for competitive analysis. So your Gatorade, you want to see what Powerade's audience looks like and what they're competing with.
And Audrey, you also track what other social networks the followers are involved in, right?
Right. We can see, so if we found kind of under websites, you can see exactly what social networks they're also most likely to like or follow or anything like that.
So can we see what other social networks they're on? Those will come up under websites.
Yeah, so you go to websites. go down here to social media. So the top 3 are Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. We look exactly into social media websites. We can see where they are. And it's usually Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Vine are the top that come up. So it's really interesting that LinkedIn is one of the top 3. That makes sense as it's kind of a more professional crowd, older, more affluent. It makes sense that LinkedIn is the top one. We had one client that had Pinterest, not only as a top social site, but a top website, which almost never happens. So that brand needs to focus on building up their Pinterest community.
You'll notice that a lot of my followers are interested in Google+, and I think that that is significant, but I wonder what Friendster's doing there. Isn't it dead?
Okay, and then lastly, we have TV shows. So we group our TV shows by network. So we have about 1,100 TV shows that we measure affinity for. So again, we can rank them by network and see CNN is the top network. We have a top 100 again. CNN News, Mad Men is number 2, The Today Show, Oprah Winfrey Show. Again, this is where, so your followers like the Today Show. You book appearances for Today's Show. You place advertisements during Today's Show time frame on NBC.
And you can drill down in here as well and see additional information, which I just really got lost in here because it's such a measurement of pop culture and of what people really are doing. So
right.
I think that this has enormous value for any marketer, and obviously if you're doing any type of advertising on Twitter, or if you are looking to, as Audrey said, at sponsored posts and at where you might want to place your publicity or any of the engagement that you need to have, this is the tool that will let you, rather than guessing, and nobody's analytics provide this in this depth. So Audrey, maybe if you're done with the report, you want to come back in? Or is there more to show?
No, that's really it for the report.
So what we should talk about is what this costs and what is available to the people who are watching.
Right, so our enterprise packages are based on volume size. So you have 10,000 followers for What's Next. That's 10,000 followers deducted from your audience allowance. We do it by year, so you can start with 10 million, I think, and then that's about 3,000 a month for a year contract. And then it goes up there, obviously flexible if you don't need 10 million or you need more than our highest package. We'll price accordingly. But and then
for smaller companies, what sort of packages are available for them?
They'll have to be custom packages, but we're flexible to work with your needs. Obviously, if you're a smaller company and you don't need 10 million audience members for the year, we're definitely flexible.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you like that, be sure to subscribe to the eStrategy YouTube channel to get more great marketing videos. And of course, you can get more great marketing content at trends.e-strategyblog.com for facts and stats on marketing, at e-strategyblog.com for my thoughts about marketing, and of course at eStrategy.tv for marketing videos.